Welcome back to Morning Express. We're glad you're watching. We'll have the person of interest in the next hour. Our guest a little bit caught up in traffic, but he'll be here shortly. That is Senior Counsel Ahmed Nasir Abdullahi. Also, if you like, the Grand Mullahs. So stand by for that at 8 a.m. should be here. And that person of interest chat will take off. But first, to our lifestyle chat today. And we're talking about adoption. Would you like to adopt? Well, this is a one you want to listen into, because you will be able to understand how the process works, what you may need to do, and also we'll have our phone lines scrolling numbers on the screen, and you can call in as well and be part of the conversation. Joining me in studio is James Peru, who's social worker with Child Welfare Society of Kenya. Thank you very much for joining us, sir.
You're welcome.
So when we're talking about adoption, are we seeing more people getting into adoption, or is it still you know, a lot of children in these homes, because there are quite a number of homes in the country? Do you see people actually taking the kids home, or do they just come to visit?
Many people are adopting, although there's still much that needs to be done, because others are yet to know what adoption is all about.
Okay.
There's that mentality that adoption is buying a child. And so with that kind of mentality, yes, there are those that are aware, that have come up to adopt, but still, there's still much that has to be done.
Has to be done.
Yep.
So demystify it for those who may be unclear about what adoption then is all about. What is it? What are we talking about?
Basically, adoption is a process that gives someone who is not, for different reasons. It could be they're not able to get their own child, or they just want to adopt to give a child a better life. So it's a process that gives this person that opportunity to get a child. And I'm saying a process because there are many steps that are involved, from the initiation of the process until you complete it and you have the adoption order, and actually you get the adoption certificate, after which the process is complete.
Okay.
Yep.
Is there a time frame? Is it one that is that stands, or does it vary depending with the different situations in terms of how long it takes to finalize the process of adoption?
It depends. You cannot really quantify and say it will take 1 year, because there are those applicants that come, and after they have taken the application forms, they take time before they fill them and they return them to us. And still there are those that after we have done the matching and we've blessed them with children, they take longer before they initiate the court process, which again may not be very predictable because of the court calendar and everything. When you go to court, you will get a date depending on when the diary will allocate you.
Okay.
And so if you take longer to initiate the process, you may just initiate it and the court goes on recess, and until they come back, that is when you can pick up from where you left. So really it will depend on the commitment of the client and also their proactiveness in following up everything.
The process.
Yeah.
So take us through, try best you can in terms of the process from the beginning. Do I go to a place and identify a child and come and say, I want this child? And then now what happens after that? Or how does it happen? Do you allocate and say, no, you want to adopt? Okay, we're giving you this particular one. And then how do these procedures happen?
You cannot go to a home and say, I want this particular child. Actually, according to the law, that one is wrong, and it's not to be permitted, because we've had cases where clients come and they have identified children somewhere that they want to adopt. But the right procedure would be they would go to an adoption society, where they would make inquiries and everything. They will be told of the process, and after the process is explained to them, they are given application forms that they go and fill at their own convenience. And together with the application forms, there are other requirements that we need from them. Maybe we may want to know where they come from, and to ascertain that, we'll need a letter from the chief. We would want to know where they are working. Is there a source of income in the family? We'd also want to know do they have any property? Because again, as you can look at the recent past, we have had cases where adopted children have been chased away because their adoptive parents have passed on or something like that. But we want to know from the word go, if they have property, are they willing for these children to adopt? Because actually, according to the law, they have a right. And so we would want them to bring us all those documents. There are many of them, a letter from the church. We would need also a medical report. We would need a photo that we use much later in the process. And after they have brought all these documents, we open a file for them, after which we call them for an office interview. And we get to know more. If I'm Peru that I want to adopt, who is Peru? Does he have siblings? Where are they? If they're there, what is their opinion of him adopting? Are they willing to support? And if he's adopting, what is his plan in taking care of this child? And we do that interview. It's called the office interview. After we do that, we organize for a date that we go and visit. We go and visit the applicant, and we get to see where the child will go. And where necessary, we may advise, because sometimes it may not be in the child's best interest to be in a home that they may not be very well taken care of. So we assess, and after that we compile a report. We combine the report from the interview and the home visit, and we make a home study report that will present to the adoption case committee that approves all the applicants. And after their approval, that is when we start to look for children that match them, and they are free for adoption, and they are within the age bracket that they requested for, after which they are placed with the children.
I'd just like to request, I'm sure you're talking about how to adopt. Let's change that tag, not quite the Child Welfare Society. Let's talk more about the court process, which you've mentioned. What exactly happens there? Because we hear, yes, there's a court process, some take very long. What exactly is that for?
During the court process, normally when you adopt, you go to court 3 times. You go for the first hearing, there's the second hearing, and then there's the ruling. And in some cases, the judge may decide after the